In Jesus Christ, in today's gospel, Jesus is telling a parable. So a landowner is going out, and then he finds people standing idle, so he hires them to work in his vineyard. It happens in one time, and he goes further. He goes to another place, and there also some men standing idle. So it was around 11 o'clock, something like that, some similar different timings. And then in the evening, and in the mid noon, and in the evening, also he found some of the men, so he hired them to work in his vineyard. So at the end of the day comes, and he is calling the servants who worked in his vineyard to give them their wages, which he owed them when he was hiring them. So as the men were being paid, he started from the ones who came late to the ones who came first. So as the ones who came late, and they were receiving the wages of the daily wage 1 denarii, and the first ones who came early and began to work in his vineyard from morning to till the evening. So they were talking among themselves, okay, we will be receiving a lot more than these people who are receiving, because they came very late and worked very little. They worked only 1 hour, about 1 hour only. So therefore, as these men who came first, they went and they received the same wages, or same wage of the daily wage. That was only 1 rupee, 1 denarii. And they began to grumble between themselves, saying that, okay, we worked a whole day, but he has given only 1 denarii. How? These people have only worked for 1 hour, and they also have received the 1 denarii of the daily wage. And the landowner was telling him, so no, what I owed you, I have given you. So do you think that I don't have right to give what I decide to give, or what I owed to him? Or are you jealous that I am generous? So here, dear friends, it is very difficult to understand the logic of God if you compare it with the human logic, because God's logic, way of dealing things, goes beyond mere human logic. So you just put yourself in the landowner, for instance. So you are giving the wages. Will you give the same wage to the person who came last, the wage that you are going to give to the one who came early? He has worked for a whole day. He has only worked for only 1 hour. Will you give the same wage to both of them? No. Most of the cases we may not do that, because we know since he has worked little, so we will give him little. But for the case of God, it is not like, dear friends. It is not like that. See, we can reflect in different ways. For instance, we can take one of the examples that happened in the life of Jesus as he was at the cross. So one of the thieves was asking pardon. So that thief has done wrong throughout his life. So at the point of death, he was asking forgiveness, so that forgiveness is granted. At the same time, if a person is asking forgiveness before his life, in the beginning of his life, so his sins are forgiven. So even it's like the justice of God is like a person is following Jesus Christ throughout his life, living a simple way of life, living a humble life, and at the point of death or after death, he is given the eternal life. And also a person who throughout his life lived a badly life. He did not live the virtues of Christ, but at the point of death, he has repented and come to Christ, and only at that point of time he is repenting for his sins, and he seems to be living the Christian virtue. So to him also given the eternal life. So that is the justice of God, dear friends. That is the justice of God. So he is ready to offer is the eternal life to anybody whenever they are repenting themselves to him. So therefore, dear friends, let us understand the logic of God, but let us not compare it with the human logic. You will not understand it. Thank you.